we are set to enter NFL free agency, let's take a look at the Chicago Bears' own players who are set to enter free agency this offseason, and if it makes sense for the Bears to consider re-signing any of them. So with that being said, let's talk about it. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports all back at it with another video talking, of course, my NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, please, I implore you, do hit that big red subscribe button down below. I promise you won't regret it. This offseason is going to be ridiculous, folks. There's going to be so much coverage that I'm going to have for the Bears. I mean, we're talking offseason free agency, we're talking draft, we're talking literally trades, everything else in between. So stay locked in the channel right here, right now. Hit the big red subscribe button. All right, so with that being said, let's talk about this, all right? So the Bears have their own free agents, not to mention the fact that you've got free agents that the Bears are going to be looking at this offseason. But let's just take a look at the guys that we have as free agents and decide if we want to bring them back or not. So very simple exercise here. Let's go. Here's the full list. Okay, so here we go. On their screen should be the full list of the free agents that the Bears have this offseason. And I'm going to go through every single one of them. Now, I will just say before I start, I'll preface my comments by saying that I apologize for the analysis or lack thereof on some of these because there is no discussion here, people. I mean, it's going to be a quick no. We don't need to bring them back. So with that being said, let's start at the top here. We got Byron Pringle, wide receiver for the Chicago Bears or this past offseason. And he was a guy that Ryan Poles signed last offseason, and I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now. And Byron Pringle is a guy who's slow, not reliable, not a guy we need to bring back. No thank you. Byron Pringle, don't let the door hit you on the way out, okay? We definitely need to upgrade the wide receiver position, and that will start by addition, by subtraction, by getting rid of Byron Pringle and just not bringing it back. He's just too slow, folks. All right, offensive lineman Riley Reef. We need to clean house with the offensive line as well. So, yeah, no thank you to Riley Reef as well. I will pass, okay? Linebacker Nicholas Morrow. Now, Nicholas Morrow was solid, and he's a guy who could be a depth piece to this defense. But this defense needs a lot of work, and honestly, I don't see anybody in that linebacking core staying outside of Jack Sanborn. That's pretty much it. And so Nicholas Morrow, if he's back, okay, it is what it is. But if he's not, it is what it is. Don't really care. All right, Angelo Blackson, defensive end. I'm good. We can go ahead and move on from him. N'Keal Harry, wide receiver. Now, Harry had his moments. I can remember a couple of catches where he was able to go up and get it. And he's a guy who, again, we did give up draft capital for. I think it was a 7th-round pick. But at the end of the day, just didn't do enough. He's a guy who's, just not reliable, gets hurt a lot. And, yeah, no thanks to N'Keal Harry. I wish him the best of luck, but I don't think the Bears should bring him back. All right, let's move on. Tight end Ryan Griffin, same thing here. Let's just move on. He's washed. He's old. We don't need him. We have other depth pieces that I would say are more reliable at this point. So let's move on. All right, DeAndre Houston, Carson, safety for the Chicago Bears. We're a free agent now for the Chicago Bears. And DHC's been solid in the secondary for the past couple of seasons. Now, we all know this entire defense needs to be revamped. So to me, DHC, he's okay. If we want to bring him back, okay, but don't really care too much about it, okay? Patrick Scales, long snapper. I mean, folks, we're talking long snapper here. All right, it is what it is. All right, let's just move on, okay? Matt Adams, I mentioned the same thing about the linebacking core. Have a hard time believing anybody besides Jack Sanborn stays with this group, but let's see. Dane Cruikshank, no thank you. Our secondary was horrible. Dakota Dozier, no thank you. Left tackle, yeah. Let's move on. Michael Schofield, offensive lineman, guard, no. Let's move on. Again, like I said, there's no discussion here. All right, that's why I'm just quickly running through these guys. Mike Pennell, defensive tackle. He's had his moments, but no, I'm ready to move on. Dante Pettis, wide receiver. Pettis should be a wide receiver 5'6" for a lot of teams, and he was like a wide receiver 3 for us. Again, we need to revamp this team. If Pettis is back on a 1-year deal, kind of like Equinemius St. Brown, don't mind it, okay? But he doesn't really move the needle for me. Joe Thomas, not the Joe Thomas of the Cleveland Browns, the legendary offensive lineman, but Joe Thomas, the linebacker, yeah, no thank you. Nathan Peterman, goodbye. Quarterback, don't need Nathan Peterman on a roster, let alone a practice squad. I'm sorry, he shouldn't be. All right, now it's a little interesting here. David Montgomery, running back. I mentioned this, and I made a video about Monty, and I think basically where I'm at with Monty is if he is willing to come back on a team-friendly deal that makes sense for him and both sides, I am all for it to bring back Monty. But at the same time, if Monty wants to get paid, and he absolutely should, and he should get all the money he wants or deserves because his shelf life as a running back is very short in the NFL. If he wants top dollar, I am more than ready to move on. Give the reins to Khalil Herbert. Go ahead and sign some depth pieces in free agency at the running back spot. I'm not overpaying for any running back, let alone David Montgomery. But a team-friendly deal makes sense for both sides. We can talk there. Kari Blasingame, fullback. Again, we're talking about a position that is really not that valuable. So to me, similar to the analysis with a lot of these other players, it is what it is. If we want to bring him back, it doesn't really move the needle for me. Sam Musfer, heck no. Don't want Sam Musfer anywhere near like a mile of Hal Goodbye. Javin White, Breon Borders, Travis Wesco, Josh Blackwell. I mean, we're getting the guys that don't play. Dieter Ellison, Armand Watts, we picked up from the Minnesota Vikings. Again, none of these guys make any difference. So to me, let's just let them all go. All right, so there you have it, folks. That's my analysis here. There's guys that we can have conversations on, like David Montgomery. There's guys that could be a end of the depth piece option, like a Dante Pettis, guys like that. But for the most part, a lot of these guys, or 90% of these guys that are free agents for the Chicago Bears, should not be brought back. And Ryan Poles should clean house, and I believe you will. Let me know what you guys think, agree or disagree. Leave a comment down below as always. Thanks.